So recently, CES of 2015, the Consumer Electronics Show, just ended in Las Vegas. So what are some of the big things that came out? This is a time for a lot of companies, even car companies. This is a big, if you're, a huge technology nerd, photography, pretty much anything like that, especially in the computers. This is a great time for you. This is a great thing because a lot of things get announced. For your smartphones, everything like that, there's a huge list. But as a photographer and just kind of some tech stuff and a really cool thing, I just want to kind of go over my top tech. Now, once again, I didn't go, which would have been freaking awesome, but I just wanted to get, my input on some of the top things that came out from some of the camera brands and just some other things from CES 2015. So let's dive into that, and it'd be interesting to hear what you guys and girls have to say down below as well. What are some of the top tech things from 2015 from CES? Let's go. Now, CES is a time for a lot of companies to make some major announcements, but there's some times where I'm going to mention a couple things that have already been announced recently that were then just really kind of shown at CES. So for example, once again, I'm going to cover this from more of a photography side of things and just some cool things, but one of the main things that was released was from the Nikon booth was the Nikon D5500. Now, I made a review about that video, a preview type of review about that video. It's the first touchscreen in Nikon's DSLR line, or pretty much in anything, and that's a really big deal for them. So they showcased that at the 2015 CES. That, as well as the Nikon 300 f4 lens, which is it's going to be about $2,000. And it's very interesting because it's going to be a newer thing to an older popular lens. It's going to be lighter. It resembles like a Nikon 24-70. But those are two of the main things that Nikon announced at CES 2015. Now, Canon didn't do a lot at CES, or nothing significant. They essentially released 8 cameras, 3 of them being power shots, 3 handy cams, and 2 ELPH. Basically point and shoot compact cameras. So they did a lot in the smaller consumer industry, and once again, Consumer Electronics Show, but they didn't do anything really revolutionary there. Mainly they were, a lot of these cameras were under $500 and they had Wi-Fi built in them. So nothing hugely special, just something different and a couple printers and stuff like that. So in my notes here, Sony did a couple things that was pretty awesome as well. Sony released a compact camcorder, the FDR-AX3. It's lightweight, and once again, it's doing more of the 4K resolution. That's why I said this year is going to be mainly a lot of 4K coming into everything now, even though people probably won't need it. So that'll be under $1,000. And this was Sony's big thing. So they're competing with GoPro on this one. This is the FDR X1000V Action Cam, and I'll show a picture of that up there as well. This is going to be 4K. It's splash proof. It's 4K at 30 frames a second. And the really awesome thing about this one, and I've seen some of the test videos of this, it does 1080 at 120 frames per second. So that super slow motion is going to look amazing, and it actually does really look amazing. It's just a little bigger than I thought it should be, especially when you're trying to compare it to GoPro. But then at 720 frames, so you're still, or 720 resolution HD, still full HD, you could do 240 frames a second. So that's really going to be something to look out for. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a popular selling this year. Once again, it's competing against the GoPro, so it'd be really interesting to see, hands-on with that. But that's really big from Sony, is that action cam. Panasonic came out with a bunch of little things as well. They had the Lumix SZ and then like the TZ, or a bunch of small stuff like that. They have 4K camcorders like the SZ10, which is going to do up to 30 frames a second at 4K. And then for around $1,900, they also released more kind of compact camcorder type cameras, but they're going to be very fast in regards to frames per second. So once again, that super slow motion, high speed look that you may want, it's obtainable for under $1,000 compared to regular E&G type cameras. And that's going to be the HCW 970, which is about $1,000, and 870, which is around $900, and you're going to get that 240 frames at full HD resolution. So that's going to be something to look out for in that regard. So that's mainly a lot of the main stuff. I just have a couple other things that I just wanted to mention that I think it's a really awesome thing that's coming out. More technology that a lot of you guys might like, stuff I definitely can't afford, but just something to really keep an eye on. The DJI Inspire 1. Now, this was announced back in November, I think, but it's now starting to ship. It's out of the prototype phase, and essentially it's going to have its own camera, so it's trying to get away from using a GoPro, so they want everything kind of by themselves. and it's going to actually shoot 24 frames at 4K resolution, 60 frames at 1080p. So they're just trying to just get rid of the GoPro thing and keep everything themselves. They were talking about this since mid last year, at least from the second quarter. And it's going to have a 20mm lens on it. So, you know, what did they say the price point on this? The price point is going to be around $3,000 for the DJI Inspire 1. Looks awesome. Something I can't really afford ever, but it's something, you know, important for a lot of drone photographers out there, someone who wants to do something aerial, to keep in mind, as it's something new that's coming out officially. Samsung came out with the SSD T1, which is basically a very, very small, weighs under an ounce, extremely portable. You know, fit it in tight jeans if you can ever squeeze into those with some butter. It's a external solid state hard drive, which is amazing because they're thicker, they're heavier, they're a little large, but they made something literally under an ounce, really small. It's going to run from essentially $180 to $600. It's USB 3.0, and it can upload and write up to 450 megabytes per second. Holy hell, that's fast. So there's this new battery that they're trying to look into, and it's the stored dot battery. And essentially what is going to happen is, and it's been proven to fully charge your phone within literally like a minute or two. It's just, I think it's from like Israel. It's a new thing that's coming out, and that they really wanted to test it. But yeah, you can, I mean, check out the videos on this thing. It's called stored dot flash battery, but you can get at least a half charge in under 30 seconds. So that is amazing. I don't know how we don't already have that, but that's something to really keep in mind. And the last thing, and the coolest thing I saw, it's just a prototype right now, but it's the driverless Mercedes car. It's basically a concept, but they call it a mobile living space. I'm gonna throw a picture up of this bad boy, maybe a couple, and holy hell, that is freaking awesome. So that is it for my wrap up of CES 2015. There wasn't anything really that just like really blew me away. I think one of the most popular things from the photography, videography side of things to come out is going to be this Sony action camera that I think might compete with GoPro, you know, and kind of comparing the footage, you know, so we'll definitely see about that. But no major cameras, 100%. Nikon's D5500 didn't blow me or a lot of the other people away. I do like the fact of the Samsung external hard drive being really, really portable, small, and you can keep multiple of them, you know, in a camera bag or whatever bag you're using to travel, because that's really, really huge. Because if you're traveling on planes, you got to worry about weight, and those could take up a lot of weight. So I think that there's a couple awesome little small things coming out, but anything really big, large, nothing blew me away. But how about you guys, you know, guys and girls? What did you see coming from CES? Or if you went to CES, you know, this year, what did you see? What do you think is going to take over this year? What's the most popular thing, or what did you like? Please let me know down in the comments below. Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye. CES 2015, nothing major. A couple little awesome things. Let's go from there.